charter schools, vouchers, and education savings accounts. In addition to a general overview of school choice policies, it introduces common themes: that school choice policies are inextricably tied to school desegregation efforts, and that these policies influence the role and responsibilities of individuals versus government as they pertain to one of the most fundamental requirements of government, educating its citizenry. These themes, which recur throughout the book, define the contours of school choice debates and will reoccur in future policy discussions. Homeschooling. For most of American history, student assignment to public schools was not a contentious policy issue. In fact, it was hardly a policy issue at all. In the earliest years of the United States, students who attended school did so in the schoolhouse in their town. The one-room schoolhouse was a common feature of American towns from the colonial days through the agrarian period. Local communities also began to incorporate taxing authorities to pay for school expenses. As the Industrial Revolution forced migration from rural communities to America's urban centers, public schools continued to be constructed based on population growth and local demand. As families established new neighborhoods, public schools were constructed to accommodate the growing student population living in the immediate area, and districts created policies to enforce school attendance boundaries to manage operations and avoid overcrowding. Even in urban areas, the preponderance of students attended the neighborhood public school located closest to their home. Other schooling alternatives, such as homeschooling and private schools, have existed alongside public schools since the inception of public education in the United States. For example, in areas where there was no public school available, education, when conducted, occurred at home. Even when public schools became available in most areas, some parents preferred to homeschool their children for several reasons, including to impart a particular learning method, have more influence over the socialization of their children, and provide religious education alongside academic preparation. The need to establish homeschooling as a legally recognized school option arose as a result of compulsory education laws that required parents to enroll their children in a public school until their child reached a minimum age, often between 16 and 18 years old. Compulsory education laws date back to the mid-1600s, and by 1918, all states had passed a compulsory education law that remains in effect, Katz, 1976. Today, homeschool parents assume responsibility for the education of their student and release the state of such responsibility. Homeschooling requirements in the United States vary by state. Prothero, 2018. In most states, homeschooling instruction does not have to be conducted by someone with a teaching certificate, and in some states, homeschooling students are required to take state-mandated assessments. In 2012, 1.8 million U.S. students, 3.4% of all U.S. students, were homeschooled. National Center for Education Statistics, 2015, Table 206.10. The primary thrust of contemporary public policy efforts for homeschooled students and parents is creating networks to connect with each other and gaining access to educational materials. Private schools. Private schools are a common and long-standing feature of American education. There are many types of private schools, including independent schools. In general, private schools are autonomous institutions, do not receive public funding, and are not required to follow many state laws that pertain to public schools. They remain in operation through tuition, fees, charitable donations, or an endowment. Parents of private school students pay for their tuition. As taxpayers, these parents also pay all applicable taxes to support public